today we're going to give you a peek into our operations on Rose Parade, Rose Bowl days, where you can go behind the scenes and see some of the tools that we're using from ESRI's ArcGIS platform to help us really see and visualize what's happening in our city and helping us manage our fire service. So without further ado, Oscar, please take it away.
Thank you, Phil. Again, I'm Oscar Spola, Pasadena Fire Department. I've been in fire service about 18 years. I'm a firefighter. I'm not a programmer. I'm not the intellectual type to get this done. But I found that the ESRI platform overall was easy to come in. We had a need, we defined it, and we moved on and we built these dashboards and tools. So going forward, like Philip stated, the Tournament of Roses. What is the data from this year's, statistics from this year's parade and Rose Bowl, as well as the other 6 events. So again, for the parade, we have about 800,000 people on the parade route. And at the same day, we're getting close to 100,000 people at the Rose Bowl. Our normal operating population is about 142,000 people. During the work week, that might jump upwards of 250,000. We're only 8 stations and we only have 51 people on duty during this time. We're running about 55 calls a day on an average, but during these 3 days that I'm going to show you, we were averaging over 100 calls a day. So we had not only these 800,000 people on board, but we still had to provide the service, the level of service that the community expects all the rest of the year. Social media posts, this would be a big one. It's almost 200,000 social media posts for these events. What we did was we utilized trackers. That was the first thing. Where are our units? And we knew where the incidents were going to be. Our CAD system that we use for our public safety answering point it's antiquated. We're getting ready to upgrade that system in the next 6 months. And we're not able to utilize AVL in a real-time basis. We're able to capture it on the backside, but not live. And with the help of Jeff Shaner and his team Tracker, which was just released a little bit a week ago, we're able to beta test it for the Rose Parade and see our units in real time. And this was all done utilizing the application on iPads, which we use for our EMS reporting. We're able to see not only their locations, but we can also see what the iPad statistics are, and it captures that lat and long as well as a Z value, so vertical accuracy. What we're looking to the future with that is, with this new 3D program software that we're developing for internal buildings, how can we utilize that to capture individuals? In case of a fire, we can see where everyone is exactly at, and if a firefighter goes down, we can utilize this technology to find them faster than what we were doing before, which was just listening for alarms going off. As well as, these are street impacts. So we had to see what our needs were and what layers we didn't have, what information we didn't capture. And one of them was being the street impacts. So street impacts, I'm showing it all in pink here, but they're actually set on a time value. So there's a start time and an end time. So units would be able to see these street impacts in real time and decide which routes they go based on that and where the call is. We also were able to utilize information from the Tournament of Roses. So this is the Rose Bowl itself, and we were able to take their PDFs and their permits. So every year they have to have about 80 pages of AutoCAD permit drawings that they have to submit to the city. With that, they're still using T-square and paper to do these AutoCAD. So it was difficult for us to geoprocess this in, and with the help of Philip's team at GIS, and with the help of ESRI, we were able to get this done. But you can see what it provides is, you're able to zoom in, and once it renders up, you'll be able to see that these overlay perfectly on our imagery. What this does for our command staff is, before the events are even happening, we can drill down to the individual seat and run some scenarios based on crowds and exit sizes, and if there was an event on this side of the location, how fast could we get these people out? Another was utilizing drone to map. So again, we have 80 pages that we get from the Tournament of Roses, and it's a PDF. And it's like, you try to use that on the day of, and a lot of times it's raining the night before, you're trying to get there as fast as you can, you're like, no, not gonna happen. We've had imagery before, everyone does, but we've never been able to capture as built. So this is the day before the event, and we're able to actually capture TV corners. So this is where, if you're viewing the parade from home, or one of the 200 other nations, one of the other 600 million people in the world, this is what you're gonna see, this is the location. And this we've never had before. We flew it with drone map, we flew it with the drone for 4 minutes, then we went ahead and did an orthomosaic, and we were able to come up with this rendering. It is crucial for us to have this information. Again, looking at those 80 pages, if something was to happen at this corner, our ICs, our incident commanders, or units in the field, they would not know exactly how many people are associated with that location. This is huge. If something was to happen on this north end right here, on Colorado Boulevard, it's a swag, it's a guess. Maybe we have 6,000 people? No, you actually have 11,600 people. 6,000 is over here, not including the media. And as well as we have other resources or other seating locations on the site. So you can see how valuable this information is. As well as we can see where the permit, their AutoCAD drawings are versus the as-built, and we can compare the two. Did what they want and we permitted match up with what the as-built was? And we're able to see that effectively. Now, let's get into some cool stuff that we like at the fire department. Some dashboards. The chief officers loved it because at the multi-agency coordination center, so we had FBI, Homeland Security, everyone there. This is what we were seeing. So you can see I've taken a snapshot of our data from the 30th to the 2nd. And we had, at this point, we had 9 active calls. Last 24 hours, 61. So this is going the morning of the 30th. We haven't hit that 100 average yet. And what units are able to do is they can click on an incident, alter level of consciousness, see exactly where it's at, scroll down, and get some analytics as well with it. We are an accredited department, and so we have to have performance measures. The chief wants to have his metrics, the city manager wants to have metrics. They want to know exactly what we're doing, not just what we're saying we're doing. So you can build it out however you want, and then by individual incident type. We also added unit utilization, and all of these can be expanded so you can see exactly. So right here you can see that I've built in some benchmarks. So 1 hour at the bottom, 2 hours at the top, as well as call types. So we had 15 fire alarms at that point, and locations. And you can build these however you want. As well as we're able to utilize pulse points. I don't know if you guys are familiar with pulse point. It's a application that is public facing, the public can access. And what it does is it grabs AED locations with people that need CPR. If they're CPR certified, it gives you an alert. What they're doing is they capture our CAD information, and we were able to utilize their API and COOP and provide it over here so we can see that what our situation status is for the entire region. Our dispatch center is owned by Burbank, Glendale, and Pasadena, but we dispatch 14 departments within the LA area. So, and we have mutual automatic aid, so we drop the borders, meaning we send the closest resource. Our chiefs want to know what's going on outside the city, so that way we know where our resources are coming from. A big one on the first this year was weather. So utilizing we had a NOAA representative on site at the MAC, and wind was the biggest thing. Up to about 10 minutes prior to the event, the chief was sitting at TV corner thinking, am I going to delay this? Am I going to postpone it? Am I going to stop it? Due to the fact that on the opening ceremony or whatever, presentation, with Shaka Khan, there were some pyrotechnics. So were they going to stop the pyrotechnics? They had some floats that were going to be elevated. Do we tell them not to do it? So we set up some thresholds, sustained speed greater than 10, gusts greater than 30, and we were able to see that. And it's all based on the map here. Remember I talked about social media, about 200,000 social media posts. So how do we use that? How do we capture it? And this is all, we were able to set up some definition queries on the left side over here. And right now it's showing someone logged in from Atlanta, go figure, probably at the Super Bowl or something, or at the Masters, right? But this is, we'll show Pasadena right here. And what it does is, if there's anything in Pasadena or in this area, it would provide a number over here. This terrorism event is actually done, it's within the US, where the other ones are just with the map scale. And with the shooting a couple days ago in Utah, it's still active. They're still capturing social media posts regarding that. But what happens is you are able to click on the actual icon that pops up, and it'll give you a pop-up that'll show you brief information about date, time, who sent it, where they were located, and then you can actually have a hyperlink to the actual social media post, within the platform. So then you can go to that and actually see what was actually done. A lot of times we're able to see information here before we can even get it out. The public's a lot faster than we are at identifying and providing information out to the public regarding fires, power outages, street impacts, that sort of thing. So this is great for us to see what is the public seeing that we're not seeing, because we can't be everywhere. Remember, 900,000 people, normally 142,000 people. What are the street impacts? If we have an incident on the north end of Pasadena and our only available resources out on the south end, they need to see that, in November or July going this route, it's no problem. But going on the first, forget it. So they need to see that actual information. And you'd have incidents pop up, and then it provided the actual route to that location. Our goal was to empower all levels of command, not only our incident commanders and the unified commanders, but also the units in the field. So we built our operations dashboards, our tools, based on what they were going to utilize in the field, whether it's a smartphone, whether it was an iPad, or it was back at their desktop. And so this was one that's built for the iPad. So it renders perfectly on the iPad, and it provides, again, all the information that is needed for them in the field. They don't need to see the analytics. They don't want to know how fast they're going or how long it took them to get there. They need to know exactly where the incident is, where the other resources are, and what's the fastest route to get there. And with that, these are all the tools that we're able to utilize with the development of this. There's a lot more behind it as far as the layering and other data sources. But the thing is, I think we did a perfect job of taking not only internal data sources, but external data sources and incorporating them into useful tools for the end user.
And finally, just to wrap up too, is that everything you saw today was built in ArcGIS Online, and these are all the applications that we're using. Even the presentation today is built with story maps. All of these tools were actually created by Oscar with some support from our GIS team, as well as a little bit from ESRI. But as he said, he's not a programmer, and he was able to point and click and work on these different visualization tools that made the most sense to their department. So it's really delivering a lot of tools and services directly to the people who are actually going to be using them. And one other last question I want to ask Oscar is, if you're going to give one piece of advice to everyone in the room today, like how should they get started, or what should they be looking at if they wanted to take some of these things and actually operationalize and have visibility to their data, what would you say?
Well, since everyone here, CIO, and they're not firefighters, the programming thing's easy for you folks. But putting it to your customers, your stakeholders, wherever you're at, let them know that I was able to look at this, and there's resources already developed, and that was a huge, huge thing, that I was able to, someone else developed something. I saw a need for it, and I saw a little nuance that I could use with this other thing and put them together without having to start from the ground up. That was what was beneficial to me, was taking these tools from ESRI and then taking what people have already developed and then bringing in what our needs were and our solutions for the end result.
Well, thank you very much.